What is an enduring power of attorney, and why would I need one? Greetings. My name is Rick Ward, and I'm a retirement coach and inspiring generational influencer at Your Journey Transitions. Come have a peek over my shoulder as I meet with my estate planner, Catherine Lynch of Cariad Legal, as she explains what an enduring power of attorney is, why would you might need one, and then observe as I have my enduring power of attorney drawn up. The purpose of these videos is to give you a visualization of what such a meeting looks like and to prepare your mind for that meeting, questions, what type of things you want to discuss with your estate planner, and that should make that meeting far more productive and cost effective. Now let's have a look at that meeting in progress.
Yeah, so what I say to people is the will is obviously only looked at when you pass away, and that's the only document that's relevant once you're gone.
So
these documents are null and void once you pass away. But while you're still alive, you've got the power of attorney, power of guardianship. And I will stress, as I always do anyway, but these documents are state specific.
Right.
And obviously that extends to, it'll be different again in the States and in all other jurisdictions. These documents they're from a statute. So they're very structured and, you have to basically follow how it's set out in the legislation. There's not a lot of room to just make up your own stuff with these. With these, you have to stick to what the legislation sets out. What I do here, I have done Queensland powers of attorney, and those documents are different because they cover both the medical and the financial side of things. And other states also, they refer to them differently as well. So in Victoria, they talk about a power of attorney and a medical power of attorney,
right?
Which I think that's really good. It makes more sense. Mm-hmm. We like to be different in WA. We refer to a power of attorney and then a power of guardianship. Power of attorney is more rigid, if you like. The power itself that you give, and that references the particular act and the relevant part of the act. Then there's the acceptances. So for you, there'll be your wife's acceptance and then your son's acceptance.
Okay.
So you will need to sign and in front of two witnesses. Mm-hmm. Your wife will and your son will. So,
I just trying to give people an idea of, kind of concepts. These are what's available, but you really need to check in your area.
Yeah.
But these are the things you need to be thinking about, and these are the reasons why you need to be thinking about it.
Yeah.
But again, get professional advice in your location, and even if we're here in WA and we're talking to you and all that, but these videos stay up indefinitely type thing. So the laws could change.
Exactly.
So you still need to go back, regardless of when you saw this, to get the current information, because the laws
definitely. And I just had a client contact me yesterday asking me to review. She needed a letter by a lawyer for a power of attorney. Her mother has a bank account in the UK. So she sent me this through. They didn't recognise it, and they said, give us a letter from a lawyer saying that this is valid and then we'll accept it. Well, she sent it through to me and I looked at it and I said, I can't tell you that this is a valid document. Her late father had done it for her mother, mm-hmm. who has now lost capacity, so she can't make a new one because that would have been the obvious thing to do. And I think he got it off a website or from a friend, and it referenced a very old, a 1919 act. So, and when I looked up the act, the relevant provisions had been repealed, and I don't know when they were repealed. They might have been repealed after the document was made, but obviously I couldn't help her in that case. I said, perhaps if you go to a New South Wales lawyer, they might be able to advise you on that, but it's just an example of, this, you can get a form and it looks very official, and it even had the old calligraphy type writing on the letterhead, but
yeah. I've come across one person they shop to find the legislation that suits their purpose type thing. So
it's tricky business.
It is. If you want it to be valid, then you're going to have to.
Yeah. Now, we talked about with the power of guardianship having somebody that understands you and your values and types of wishes that you would have. With a power of attorney, it's different. So power of guardianship is really a very personal document. Power of attorney is very it's a big power. That word power in there is really, really important to take on board. Unlike with an executor, even in the role of executor, it's a very important role, but I wouldn't say it's easy in any way, but it's relatively straightforward in that the executor carries out your wishes as set out in your will. With a power of attorney, you're giving that power, with a general power of attorney, you're giving that person the power to do everything that you can do with your finances. Obviously, that's balanced by the fact that it has to be for you and in your interests, but it's still a very big power. So it's important that you're naming the right person or people. So again, it's relatively easy if you've got a spouse, you name your spouse, and I assume that's what we're doing here.
Right. But to back up, can we have a second person?
That's the thing, and when it comes to a substitute, what I say to people, and that can often be difficult for people if they don't have children, for example, or if their children are small. If you do have adult children, if you've got 2 adult children, I say consider naming them jointly. So they both have to act together, they both have to sign everything together and agree. One can't go behind the other's back. That's a really good way of doing it.
Okay,
it's not always a good option because it's not always an option.
I think that's how it's set up with my in-laws, is that there's 2, my wife and her brother are both.
Yeah.
I always got 2. So yeah, I had named Karen, and then my son Brendan, he's very familiar with all my businesses and things like that. So he would be the one that I would use.
So that makes it easier, because that's another thing I would draw your attention to. So with a will, it's kind of a one-off. Well, it is a one-off thing. Obviously, the role of executor can continue for some time, but with the power of attorney, potentially it's something that people are going to be using on a day-to-day basis and on an ongoing basis. So you have to think practically about where these people are actually situated and if they, if it's practical for them to be acting in this role.
Most likely to be Karen anyway. She's the.
Yeah, this is only the substitute. Yeah. So, Brendan's address. Something else that's really important with the power of attorney to realise is that you can specify that it's to be effective immediately or only if you lose capacity. Now, again, it's different in every state. In WA, it's a bit trickier. In Queensland, if you say only in the event of incapacity, you would just need a medical certificate, for example, to show that you lost, or that the person has lost capacity and that you can now act. In WA, if you state that you want the document to be effective only in the event of incapacity, your attorneys actually would need to go to the State Administrative Tribunal and get a declaration stating that you've lost capacity before they can act. So, in most cases, not in all cases, it obviously depends on the individuals and the circumstances, but in most cases, I suggest having it effective immediately. Because a power of attorney isn't just simply for when you have lost capacity. It could be that you're overseas, could be that you're in hospital with 2 broken legs, you've still got full capacity, but you need somebody to manage your affairs for you, for example.
Okay. But then again, that's something you're really going to trust because they have that power.
Of course.
I'm still around. I'm in the States on holiday and they're selling my houses or something.
Yeah.
So I mean,
what I say is...
I see, but I also see that I do travel, I do things, and it'd be handy for him to come do that. So no, I think we'll do that.
I do recommend that. And again, sometimes there are people that are adamant that no, I don't want anybody to have access to any of my affairs unless I absolutely can't do it myself. And that's fine, but it is restrictive and it can cause a little bit of problem down the track when you draw that line. For example, what I also say to people is if you store your documents with me, although it's effective immediately, I would never release that document to Brendan. I would only ever release that document to you. Or if Brendan says to me, well, Dad's lost his marbles and can't give me instructions, then I would require not a declaration from the State Administrative Tribunal, but I would say, well, give me some medical evidence if I cannot get hold of you.
Yeah, because like I said, with the tribunals, it can take ages and it's all messy.
It's just another, it's more red tape.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, that sounds good.
Yeah. Okay.
That's really good advice, though. Because when you first said that, I was like, because because I've got a power of attorney in the States for a guy but it's specific, he can only deal with my property.
Yes.
In this one company, that's all he can do.
Yes, and that's something I haven't touched on. So what we're talking about here is
general.
An enduring power of attorney. Yeah. So we have specific powers of attorney, and we have powers of attorney. This is and the enduring part refers to it enduring beyond loss of capacity. So it doesn't end if you lose capacity, which is really important because that's one of the main reasons. Yeah. But you could very much in a specific power of attorney, for example, if you were in the middle of selling your house, settlement was going to happen, on the 20th of April, and you're going to be overseas on the 20th of April, you could put a specific power of attorney in place for the specific purpose of dealing with your land for specific dates, between this date and this date, and then it ends and that's it.
Okay, so I've stored the document with you, and I am overseas, and something comes up, I need Brendan to go respond to it. Does he need to get that copy from you, or can we just have a copy of that to show somebody, or?
It's up to you. If you want to have a copy that he can access otherwise.
I probably wouldn't.
Yeah. And what we're going to produce.
But with the will, that's an original document. You're the only one's going to have that.
Yes.
You have that.
Yeah.
But with the power of attorney, I can have a copy of that just in case we.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
But just be aware that, a copy is not going to be. A bank won't accept a copy. A bank will need to see the original anyway. So.
Yeah, depending on what the circumstance is.
And certainly, in terms of dealing with property, land, the original is the only thing that will be accepted. And that's my next point.
Sure.
If, again, in WA, there's different bodies in every state and other jurisdictions. In WA, we have Landgate, used to be called the Department of Land Administration. So all land dealings, buying and selling property, go through Landgate. So this power of attorney, once it's done and signed, it will be effective as of now. But Karen will be able to take it to the bank if you want her to, and will be able to register it with the bank and whatever other institutions are necessary, and it will then be able to be used. When it comes with dealing with land, though, it needs to be officially registered with Landgate. So that's another step which you need to be aware of. So with the power of attorney, if you are going to register with Landgate, it needs to be registered within 3 months. If you don't register within 3 months, it can be done later, but you or the person, the attorney, the person who's given the power, needs to sign a stat dec saying that the document hasn't been revoked in that time. So it's just another step involved. Okay. So it's a decision that you make whether you do it now straight away and get it done and can forget about it, or you sort of say, well, we'll do it if and when we need to.
Okay, give some thought to that.
Yeah. If you want to give me 10-15 minutes, I can get these documents drafted for you. Okay. And then I'll print them out for you to read and double check. And then when you're happy, I've got your will ready to go. I'll get those signed and that'll be it.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, the completed document for the Enduring Power of Attorney. Again, very short and sweet. The date I had made it, who I appointed as my Enduring Power of Attorney, and who my backup would be if they were unable to do that. And then the acceptance. The key takeaway points for an Enduring Power of Attorney. An Enduring Power of Attorney makes decisions on all financial issues. They do not make decisions on personal, lifestyle, or medical treatment issues. You and your Enduring Power of Attorney must be at least 18 years old and have full legal capacity. You can appoint a joint or substitute Enduring Power of Attorney. Enduring Power of Attorneys cannot be made on behalf of you. An Enduring Power of Attorney finishes their role at the time of death. I hope you found that informative, and that an Enduring Power of Attorney or a similar document might be a very useful tool in organizing your affairs. And if you did, give me a thumbs up. Keep in mind that Enduring Power of Attorney may be called something else, or may not even be available in your area or relevant to your situation. These are just things to think about and discuss with your expert planner in your locality. This video was just a guide to help you start thinking about what sort of documents that you may need to get in place and how much control do you want over the whole process. If you're new to this channel, please hit the subscribe button, and most importantly, hit the share. Share this video with everyone in your social networks, workmates, anyone you meet over 50 that you would like to give them the gift of peace of mind and well-being in their retirement year. You can follow me through Facebook on Your Journey Transitions and through my website, yourjourneytransitions.com. I hope you'll join me in the final video in this series, What Legal Documents Do I Need in My Estate Planning? If you want to be notified as soon as I release a new video, hit the notification bell. Until next time, this is Rick Ward, your guide through your retirement stages, wishing you an extraordinary retirement.
This is like a cocoon.
What comes out of a cocoon?
Butterflies.
Are butterflies beautiful?
Yeah.